This episode of Plasticon Reviews is brought to you by darkdominion.com. Check them out for all your 3D printing needs. Welcome back to another Plasticon review. Today we're going to cover some third-party stuff. I don't do a lot of third-party on this channel, but this is actually FansProject. This is from 2016, guys. 2016. This thing is almost a decade old. But this is a set of layer drivers, and they're from the Lost Eco Realm. This is a 6-pack of Solaron, which is kind of funny. And you flip around here on the back, it actually has names for everybody, which is Potato, Velus, Tekor, Lapita, Depran, and Karev. These two don't look like there's any difference between the two, which is weird. I don't know why you guys are giving two different names. By the way, warnings, 18, it is a 16 plus warning on here. Because you know, pictures show prototype only. Products may vary from pictures. Why don't they do that more often on things I do not know? This is me tapping on the box because I want to. I do think it's kind of crazy though that they actually have a FansProject written on here on the list. This was actually provided to me by a friend of mine. He sent me a bunch of cool stuff, and I haven't ever had any FansProject figures. This is my first dive into that. I wonder if there's any instructions in there, which I don't think there are. It doesn't seem like there are any. It does have like kind of an insert. But I mean, to be honest, there's not really instructions needed here because these guys are just little tiny drivers. They are a driver thing, homaging Diaclone drivers. These little dudes. But yeah, they come in a nice little tray, which is cool. I've seen these all over, so they are pretty available out there. They're not too terribly expensive. I do like the idea they're in a clamshell. This is nice. This is some premium stuff here. And to be honest, yeah, FansProject did some really interesting stuff there for a long time, so let's get one of these dudes out. I do not remember their names. I'm not going to remember their names. All I'm going to do is go over them because they are cool. So let's take a look at this dude and see how he measures up to the modernized hype of articulation, because that's the crazy thing about these guys is they're actually articulated. Also, another thing, I got a metal piece right here, right? They do have the magnets in the feet, which is cool. So I can actually magnetize him and hang upside down like this. And he does not come off there, by the way. He's pretty secure. So that's always nice. Anyway, articulation. Looks like he's got a ball-jointed head. Well, maybe not a ball-jointed head. It's on twisty, so he does have a twistable head. Arms look like they're on little tiny ball joints, maybe. Yep. He does happen to have an elbow joint, which is nice. He does not have any wrist rotation, I don't think. No, it does not seem that way. Actually, maybe, but I don't want to risk it. I don't think they actually have wrist articulation. No, they don't. But it has enough articulation in that. Does he have waist? No. He does have knees, and these are on ball joints, so he does get a bit of a stance. Does not have an ankle rocker or anything due to the magnet and all that stuff being on the inside. But they did manage to actually do a lot of like detail work on the inside of him to make sure that all this stuff is kind of, you know, pinned in and looks great. I do like his color scheme, by the way. He's very, very Diaclone inspired. Bringing an actual Diaclone driver, that kind of tells you how tall these dudes are. They're about, almost 3 inches tall. Probably the most common thing I have. I'm trying to grab one. Put it more in a modern aspect for you guys, so you guys can tell the difference. Here is next to a modern Target Master. Kind of shows you about his height. Friggin' merman! Oops. He can't even stand up because he's an idiot. You know, kind of gives you a bit of a, you know, a scale of how tall these guys are. He's neat. I do like him. I like the sculpting. Sculpting's very well done. It's not terrible. I do like the little tiny bit of like silver right there on his nose too. I mean, they didn't mess around with the paint. They did a very, very, very good job on the paint. Let's set him back there. Grab the next one. This guy here kind of reminds me more or less of I don't know, kind of like one of the GoBots or something. Like he's got that Road Ranger look. Do you like him? Obviously, he's got the same articulation that the other one does. So, you know, you can pose these guys pretty well. Even with these big old chunky feet. I mean, he can hold a pretty good pose. That's pretty impressive. I do like that. I do like my my Blockman style smaller figures anyway. He's very neat. I do like him a lot. I'm really into this style of stuff. It's very cool. Close up that head sculpt there for you. I do like the paint. Paint's really neat. I like the idea of these. It looks like he has like little thrusters. He almost looks like he could transform into something. Like, I think some of these guys had capability, I think, to turn into like an engine or something, but these don't seem to have that. These just seem to be just drivers, and I'm fine with that. And he does happen to have the magnets in his feet too. Like I said, airlines have magnets, which is cool. So, do you like that? And bring out the, I'm gonna call these guys the twins because they do not look different at all. I don't see any difference whatsoever between these two. I think it's crazy that they give them both different names, but there's no distinct markings or anything on them. Even their head sculpts are pretty much, yeah. Even their head sculpts are the same. So, these guys look like grunts. Like, this would be your troop builder dudes out of the group. Like I said, they have articulation, so they're not like completely stagnant. I do like the sculpting on these guys though. These guys look like the rough and tough guys, the ones that would actually be carrying the heavy load, and they almost have a Gundam look with the helmet. I really like that. I like the little horns just jetting off the back. Them being magnetic, they kind of detract each other a little bit, which is kind of funny. Like, I'm literally trying to put them together right now, and they're trying to push away from each other. This is another reason why I love, like, toys that have this kind of... It's a pretty good articulation, not terrible. These guys are a little stiff because they've been in the box for a while, but they're neat. I do like them. They are very cool. So let's take a look at the other one here. This one here kind of reminds me a little bit more of Cerebros from the headmaster, or not headmasters, but Robots in Disguise from Fort Max. He does remind me of Sir Heroes. He's got that look to him. I do like the paintwork. The paintwork's very cool. By the way, sculpting wise, these two here share a sculpt, looks like. So these two are the same sculpt, which is interesting. Because that guy there does not share a sculpt. These two here share a sculpt. And then these two here share a sculpt. Very neat. I like the color scheme on this guy, by the way, though. I don't know, I'm into the color schemes on these guys. I really enjoy that. It's very different compared to some of the stuff we get nowadays. I really like small figures like these. They fit the bill. They work very well. Let's take a look at the last one, which is one that really makes my eyes giggle. That's neon colored one. This guy is completely different than all the other ones. He does not share a sculpt with any of them. He's like this guy. So this dude and this dude here are the only two that do not share sculpt, which is interesting. Crazy how they could have just, like, I don't know, released like a 20 pack of these guys and just recolored them in every color on the rainbow. But, you know, he's pretty neat looking. He does remind me, I don't know, I've seen this kind of like thing before. Maybe Blockman is what I'm thinking of here. But he does have a very kind of Blockman feel. Maybe time travelers from Microman. I do like that about him. It's very cool. It's got very stiff joints, by the way. And his feet only go back so far too. That's something I noticed. Like the sculpt on some of these guys is a little better than others when it comes to the actual like posability. But to be honest, I mean, you can get them kind of in a nice dynamic walking pose, which is fine, and they're not going to fall over. I mean, I'm bumping the table here, and he's not falling over. I mean, I can shake the table a little bit. I'm not going to like bump the table real hard. I can knock everything over there. You know. Very cool. I do like him a lot. But yeah, these guys are pretty neat. If you guys have never checked these out, I highly suggest that, because these FansProject figures are very, very cool. Especially if you're into the Target Master size. These guys actually fit in with that Target Master size pretty well. I really cannot complain about like the height here of them. No, they're not as small as the originals, but I see where they were going here, and I admire them for the fact that they're trying to homage the Diaclone dudes. I love the Diaclone guys. These guys are so stupidly underrated. It's crazy. I mean, you think this is only literally 4 points of articulation done in an inch man that you have in your hand from the 80s. Like, come on. They don't... Even the Star Wars stuff that they release nowadays is struggling to do anything half as cool as this. I just think this is a very, very interesting group of figures to look into. And, you know, I don't know. I like these. They're cool. And they're really, really neat. And these are, you know, obviously the type of thing that I'm into. I like tiny little robots. And these tiny little dudes look like they're in little power suits. And I'm good with that. And the fact that, you know, these guys here share them all, these guys here share them all. I kind of wish they would have recolored one of these. I would have been cool to see one of these guys in yellow. I would have enjoyed seeing one of these dudes in yellow. Yellow and black would have been amazing. It's like replace the green with black, or with the yellow, and that would have been cool. Could have been just a small minor repaint. I don't know. Yeah, do yellow and then give him instead of the black, make him silver. Silver and yellow. I don't know. I mean, silver and green work really well. Why not silver and yellow? That would work. Anyway. This has been Plasticon. This has been a quick look at FansProject Diaclone Lear Drivers. Such a weird name. These guys are just Micromen. But I'll see you guys around. have plenty more coming your way. That's it for now. Bye!